All right, now I want to take just a couple seconds here and briefly talk about some useful buttons that you should be aware of on the calculator. It would be a shame to go through high school and not realize some of the shortcuts you can take with the calculator. So I'm going to go through these three in particular: second enter, second answer, store. Okay, so first, let's just say that we're doing a series of calculations here. So, 2 times 3, enter, 3 times 9, enter, 5 plus 4, enter. And you're grabbing these numbers and let's say, oh my goodness, I screwed that up. That 2 times 3, that should have been 2 times 4. Okay, and maybe just, let's for argument's sake, and I don't know what 2 times 4 is. So I'm going to go back up there. I'm going to grab that number again. One of the things you can do on your calculator that's quite useful is the second enter combination. If I press second enter, what it does is it goes back up 1 step. If I do second enter again, it goes back up 2 steps. Second enter again goes back up 3 steps. And then what I can do is use my arrow key, replace that with a 4, and press enter. Okay, now that second enter feature, you can do that a number of times. Like, here's other stuff that I've entered into the calculator. It will go back several steps there. Okay, so it will remember what we've done. Okay, another really useful tool here. Let's say I'm doing a calculation here and I got like a complicated one. Let's say that, for example, I needed let's say the sine of 30 degrees, and I get that. Oh, sorry. I should have known better. Let's try a different one. Let's say the sine of 35 degrees. Let's get a decimal here that's a little uglier. Okay, there it is. And I need the sine of 35. I'm going to multiply that by let's say 12. Now, what I can do here is press the negative sign, because just above the negative sign is the ANS, the answer. Okay? So second negative sign pulls up the answer. That is referring to this previous number here, okay, the one that I just calculated. And so now if I multiply that by 12, like I said I was going to do, there's the answer that I wanted. Okay, that's quite useful here. I don't have to retype that, and in fact, when I use the ANS here, it's actually using a few more decimal places beyond here that it's not showing. So that is quite useful. Another trick on here is the store button right here. Okay, so what we're going to do here is, let's say that I need this number and I'm going to use it a few times, maybe in a few different calculations here. Okay, what I can do, once I've got that number established there on the screen, I can press STO, and when I do that, I get this little arrow here. So it's going to take that answer, and it's got a little arrow here, and I'm going to store it in a variable. Now, you can store it in whatever variable you want. If you'll notice here in the light green above all those letters, you've got the numbers, I should say, are the letters of the alphabet. You can store that in whatever you want. Okay. Now I'm going to just use our regular X button here. And when I press enter, what that does is it takes that value and assigns it to X. So that now if I press X, enter, I get that value there. If I wanted X plus 1, if I do X plus 1, notice all that should do is change that to a 7.88, and there we go. So I can do fairly complicated calculations with that. Let's say X squared minus 2X, and that's what that answer would be. It now recognizes that anytime I press the X button here, that is actually 6.88, and so on. Okay, and if I need that value for maybe a few different calculations, it's now available to me without having to type it out the whole thing here. And again, it stores it to the few decimal places beyond what I'm seeing. That's a really, really useful tool, particularly, let's say, on an exam if you're trying to check a solution. Okay, this is a very handy way of doing that. And you will see later on, again, that there are other applications, particularly in Math 30, where this is a really, really useful tool to have.